Hey guys, so Dragon Ball Legends had a pretty substantial update yesterday, and there are definitely a lot of people that have some varying opinions on certain things that were changed, nearly all negative. And you guys have seen the title of this video, you guys have seen the thumbnail of this video, and I'm not really someone who tends to go on rants so much. At this point with this game, I'm more so just somebody who gets disappointed as opposed to angry, but just a fair warning that the overall tone of this video will most likely be fairly negative. So you've been warned, but at the same time, I am going to do my best to be fair and only really give feedback and criticism on areas that I feel it's warranted. So this is mostly going to be regarding the changes to the rating matchmaking system. But I guess we can go over the rest of this update quickly before that. So I guess we can start with like the UI changes. Not really too much to say here. They changed the way the exchange shops look, which we can go ahead and take a look at just quickly. If you like go over to, I don't know, like the sparking. No, we can go to like this what's a good one? The rare metal exchange shop here. So, you know, it looks nice, I guess, and you know, some of the UI elements of like the character details screen has changed, and you have more accessibility to some of the more like the finer details of characters. Like for example, full power Frieza we looked at yesterday, we're able to see his soul boosting board on the screen without having to go separately to look at his soul boosting in the other window. Nothing too groundbreaking, sure, and obviously nothing to complain about there. So overall, pretty positive change, I would say. You get to like look at all the different types of items here. You can see how many you own of each item, and for example, when you go to use like ultra skip tickets in co-op and stuff, you can directly buy and replenish on those items directly from the co-op screen and stuff like that. So that's definitely fine. I mean, again, not a huge change, but it's fine, whatever. So next, I guess we can talk about LF Full Power Frieza's Zenkai. So I guess I should pull him up, huh? Let's pull up our good friend LF Full Power Frieza, one of my favorite characters they've ever released, one of my favorite releases, my favorite character, period. So obviously I was looking forward to this guy's Zenkai Awakening. And in conclusion, it's just way, way off the mark. And that's really the nicest way I can say it. He's not even close to good enough. I will say he's at least usable. He has some tools available to at least provide some sort of value to the fight, but I just fail to see any instance where I'm going to go out of my way to use him in any capacity outside of just being a bench character. So honestly, it's just sad. His main function as a character that is that he permanently ignores endurance, right? As you know, so let me open his thing here, just so I can show you guys what I'm talking about. Where is it? It might be here. No, I miss it. Yeah, here we go. Nullifies enemies, restore health when it reaches 0 effects when this character attacks. So it's basically the like the yellow hit mechanic, the purple Rose Goku Black mechanic, the yellow Demon King Piccolo mechanic, the tag androids mechanic. It's a strong mechanic, right? So he permanently ignores endurance. And the main way that you take advantage of that is via the Rising Rush. But in this meta, you can't even rush because of Goku and Frieza being in every single match. So that's sort of out the window. And then on top of that, he just gets 3-shot by Vegito Blue. So they literally couldn't conceive of a worse possible environment to drop this guy's Zenkai. So it's just, for me, a sad situation. I don't know. There's definitely a lot of ways they could have made this guy at least a little bit better, given that this is a terrible time to Zenkai this character. But yeah, I think they completely flopped on this guy's Zenkai, honestly. Lastly, we can go over the equipment that dropped. And this is actually something I did not do in my breakdown video because the game was in full maintenance, so we actually didn't get a chance to take a look at this together. So let's go over to the archives. We have a few new pieces of equipment. There's this new one. This is for, I believe, yeah, Frieza Force. It's 30% blast and 10% HP. That's just not good enough in this day and age. With all the crazy Awakened equipment and unique equipment they've been giving out, that's just not anywhere close to good enough, so that's not great. We have this over here, which is for specifically Frieza Saga, and it requires that you use 3 Frieza Saga battle members. So as of right now, I mean, I'm sure we're going to get more Frieza Saga summonable characters before this celebration ends, or this campaign ends, but as it stands right now, the only conceivable team that I can really even see being sort of viable is the Ginyu Force. I mean, the Ginyu Force is a good team, And they can definitely make use of this equipment, right? And you're getting 15% to base strike and blast defense, and then you're getting 15% to pure strike and blast attack when you have the full Frieza Saga team. As well as 12% special move damage. So it's definitely not a bad equipment for the Ginyu Force team, but the Ginyu Force team already has such powerful equipment that I'm not really sure you can really find a place for this. I mean, it's definitely not a bad equipment for them, but Frieza Saga is not a team, unless you're running Ginyu Force. So that's the big problem with that one. And then, of course, we have everybody's favorite, the Red Super Saiyan Goku unique equipment here. I mean, you just go through all these equipment, starting from Buu all the way up to Goku. So how many have we gotten so far? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is the 9th equipment we've gotten for a Zenkai character. These are just, I don't really know what their goal is with these. These are just not good. So obviously with this Goku being essentially just horrible, right, before his unique equipment released, he goes from horrible to bad. Like, I don't really know how that's supposed to affect anything, but yeah, I mean, that's that. So now we're going to move on to the main topic, which is the updated matchmaking system and rating match. So I think the best way to go about this is to first go into the news and just read what they published to give ourselves a background as to some of their intentions behind the match. So I believe this is where we can see this. So we got 4.2 6.0 rating match renovation. Thank you for your continued support of Dragon Ball Legends, blah, 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 blah. Okay, let's just scroll down to... okay, they gave us CC, which of course is nice, but yeah, it's fine. By the way, they removed... I know a lot of people are going to mention this, so I might as well mention this now. They removed CC from the Battle Gauntlet. They basically renewed the Battle Gauntlet system. And instead of 100 floors, it's now 30 floors, which is obviously very good. But they removed CC from the Battle Gauntlet. So it used to be 700, now it's 300. I just don't know why they removed the CC. Like, just keep the CC. Like, what? Sure, it takes less time to complete it, but I assume most players would rather it remain 100 floors and they have the extra CC in the event, right? Am I crazy for saying that? I don't know. That's a change that they made that obviously they're not going to mention here because it's a bad thing. But here we go. So, updated contents. Rating matches got an update. Okay, let's take a look at what they say here. Adjustments to the matchmaking system. We are making adjustments to how the matchmaking system searches for opponents. You will now be matched with players who are more similar in ability as measured from your performance in the current and previous seasons. Enjoy heated battles that are sure to keep you on the edge of your seat every game. Let me read this again. Enjoy heated battles that are sure to keep you on the edge of your seat every game. Every game. Adjustments to RP losses when defeated. We decreased the amount of RP lost when defeated by an opponent of a lower skill level. Sure. UI adjustments. So I think this searching for opponent thing is nice because they're never really, like, literally, it's kind of crazy. We went 5 years without there being any indication as to, like, the status of you finding an opponent. It's kind of strange that they never implemented this until now. But this is a bit strange to me. So to coincide with the changes to matchmaking and RP gains / losses, your opponent's battle rank and RP will no longer be displayed. I don't really care about that, but this just looks like, doesn't this just look sad? Like, you think back to just before this update, like, there was a lot going on these nameplates here, and now it just looks sad. Like, there's nothing on there. It just looks empty. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. It's just a visual thing, but I don't like the way this looks. Added a special animation for formidable foes. When you're matched with an opponent stronger than you, formidable foe will be displayed on screen. Winning against a formidable foe earns you more RP than usual, plus losing will not significantly reduce your RP. Adjustments to special rank up to prevent matching new players with those who are just returning after a break. Players that have reached a certain battle rank in the past can restart from a set battle rank when returning. That is a good change. This is for sure. I mean, there's literally nothing bad about this. You cannot say anything bad about this change. This is purely a good thing. So that's good. And so here they mentioned Super Space Time Duel renovation preseason. With the system update comes the start of the preseason for the renovated Super Space Time Duel. During the preseason period, there is a possibility that adjustments will be made season to season. When the preseason period finishes, Super Space Time Duel will resume, continuing with the past numbering system. We've also prepared special missions, blah, 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 blah. So, yes, they gave out some extra CC from completing the missions, which is nice. And then there's, again, some UI adjustments that we already looked at here. But the fact that they mentioned that this is sort of going to be a pre-season for the renovation, the overhaul of the rating match system, means that they're at least open to changing the way the system works. So I think it's going to be important for not just me to provide feedback via this video, but I think it's going to be important for you guys to contribute feedback. And honestly, unless they put out a survey, which they definitely should do, because otherwise that's the best way for them to just generate tons and tons of direct feedback from you guys. But the best way to give feedback on certain updates or things that you dislike, or maybe things that you like too, is to comment on social media posts, the official social media posts. So if the official social media account tweets out, Zenkai Full Power Frieza is released or whatever, I'm like, here's the new event. Just literally just respond under the tweet and be like, here's some feedback. I don't like this. I like this. Blah 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 blah. They do. I guarantee you they read those replies. So that is the best way to give direct feedback there. Okay, so that is pretty much what it says in the news. So let me just break down. I'll try and make this as easy to understand as possible. I'm going to lay out the main points here and give my thoughts and opinions on this change that was made to the matchmaking system in the rating match. So, and here's where things might become a bit negative here, if they weren't already a bit negative. The entire premise behind this system is, in my opinion, a direct contradiction to the basis of the game. I don't know if I could actually think of a worse system to implement into Dragon Ball Legends than an overarching, all-encompassing skill-based matchmaking system. This game from day one has never, ever, at any point, in any respect, ever been competitive. It has never been developed to be competitive. The priority of the developers has never been to make this game competitive. And so with the foundation of over 5 years, well, honestly, probably closer to like 7 or 8 years, depending on how long it actually took to develop and work on the game prior to release. With a foundation that old, and with mechanics that have existed in the game since inception, you can't just all of a sudden just say, oh, hey, you know what would be a good idea? Let's just all of a sudden implement a system that affects all players and completely contradicts essentially everything we've worked on up until this point. Yeah, that's sure to go over well. Yeah, great idea. So, starting from day one of the game's release, we've had Feint in the game. We've had Paralysis in the game. We've had Rising Rush, everyone's favorite mechanic, in the game. And they've only continued implementing new mechanics that reinforce the idea that this game innately has ever, been competitive. Or I guess I should say that it reinforced the idea that this game innately has never been designed with competition in mind. So why, oh why would they ever think that a skill-based matchmaking system like this would be good for the game? So since the update dropped yesterday, I've been thinking about this more and more, and the premise of introducing a change like this, it actually makes such little sense to me that I honestly, I don't even know how it's possible that a change like this got through just the preliminary internal discussion phase of the development cycle. I don't know what the inner workings of their procedures are. People like to make jokes like, oh, like I have inside info. Like, I don't. That's number one. But I assume that the way they come up with ideas for, updates and improvements is, sitting down at a table in the office or wherever, and, as a team, brainstorming potential ideas that would eventually make their way into the game after an established development process. And so all you have to do is just sit there and think about this for 5 minutes to understand that this isn't even something that should have even been considered for actual implementation. Not even considered. So the fact that this update made it through the discussion phase, the planning phase, the development phase, the coding phase, the testing phase, the approval phase, however many phases there are for finalizing an update like this, and nobody even thought to say, hey, this might not be the greatest change to a game that we've never intended to be competitive, and that, you know, goes against the fundamental vision of what we want for this game. It's just mind-boggling to me. And before we continue, I again, like I mentioned in the intro, I do want to be fair here. I do want to say that I think Legends has actually done an exceptional job this year with almost everything they've done, from system updates to releases to celebrations. I think they've actually done pretty well, and they've been pretty on the ball this year with that, basically everything. So I'm not going to go super overboard about this flop, because I do actually think they've generally done a great job this year so far. If you guys remember back to when like they introduced like the Zenkai system, and like it was just L after L after L after L, the game literally could not take a single W. And at that point, I was pretty upset. And you guys can go back to those videos from all those years ago, and yeah, like if you continue just making horrible changes one after the other like that, like at that point, yeah, it gets really annoying. But this is not the same scenario here, because they've done a good job this year, but this is not good. So I guess I'll just say that this change is just so far off the mark that it honestly, it really makes you question how it even got past the initial discussion phase, like I just mentioned. They really genuinely thought this was going to be good for the game, and honestly, it's almost scary to think about that. And again, even though they've done a lot of good this year, it does make me worried for potential future updates if they're capable of passing something like this. Like, you know, what's next, right? So what exactly is so bad about this change, the matchmaking? So go back and just scan through my 2 showcase videos from yesterday, right? We had the Zenkai LF Full Power Frieza video, and then we had the Red Super Saiyan Goku video with the new equipment. And just look at the teams that I'm facing. This is day 1 of a brand new PvP season. When we get new characters in the future, there is no way in hell I'm going to be able to showcase them in ranked. How do you guys think a 3-star green Super Saiyan Gohan from the LF Cell banner would fare against those teams that I fought yesterday? 14-star Ultra Vegito Blue, 14-star Blue 17, 14-star Goku and Frieza, match after match after match. So taking new characters into PvP is just going to be an absolute nightmare unless they actually do the right thing and make new summonable characters as good as Goku and Frieza or Vegito Blue, because otherwise who's using them? Who is using a new summonable character in ranked PvP when you innately are at a disadvantage because all you're fighting are those characters that are just way better than them, right? I genuinely don't know what the point is of releasing a character like the green Super Saiyan Gohan that came out with Cell if you're implementing a system like this that just completely makes him irrelevant day 1, because you are fighting characters that are legitimately 2 times better than him every single match. Like, why would I innately put myself at a disadvantage there? So I guess I can just showcase new units in ranked and lose every single match. But the more realistic possibility is I'm probably just going to end up taking new characters and showcase them in Treasure Battle, right? I don't want to do that, but I have no choice. It's just not a fun situation for me. So, you know, that really is my main gripe about the change. I mean, you guys saw my showcases yesterday. You think Zenkai LF Full Power Frieza or Red Super Saiyan Goku with his equipment, you think they're going toe-to-toe with teams we fought yesterday? The answer is no. The answer is no. Capital N, capital O. And so to have to deal with that from day 1 all the way to the final day of each and every season, you're just forced to use the same 3 to 5 characters every single match, and that's the result that's being pushed by this update. So, you know, what they can do to improve the situation, I guess, is the final thing I'm going to talk about here. Of course, the easiest and quickest way to fix this issue is simply just to revert the changes that were made to the matchmaking system. But I highly doubt, after the development time and the resources spent working on this change, that they're really just willing to go and scrap it entirely, because, I guess there's always a chance if there are enough people making a fuss about it. But I think what it really comes down to is not so much the premise behind the change itself, because I actually think the premise behind the change, you know, being that you are now more likely to match up against players of a similar skill level to your own, like that is a good change. And that, in a vacuum, when you think about it, it makes sense. Like, sure, I'm down for that. You know, fighting people closer to your skill level theoretically would make for a more exciting and interesting experience, which I assume was their goal of this update, and I'm all for that. The problem lies in the immense, the enormous, the monumental difference in power between the best units in the game and the rest of the game. And, you know, make no mistake, this has been an issue for as long as the game has existed, which, again, feeds back into my initial point that this game is not competitive. I'm sure there are players out there that have fun using the same 2 to 3 characters for 5, 6, 7, 8, 900 matches in a row. But I would argue, I would put my chips and bet the farm, that in fact, most players are not a fan of doing that. Just a hunch. But that is precisely what this system is promoting. Way more than the prior system did, because at least with the prior system, you were fighting players who actually attempted to try and have fun by using other units. Now, granted, it still wasn't a great situation even with the prior system, but it was for sure better than it is now. So my point is, I think the change that they made to the matchmaking system itself isn't the problem. The change simply highlighted to a greater degree the issue, which is the power level difference between the 2 best units in the game and the entire rest of the game. And again, this is not a new concept, right? You go all the way back to the first year of the game, and we have had plenty of instances where 1 or 2 units just stand head and shoulders above the rest of the game, clear as day. But at least we still had opportunities to experiment and play with the 900 other characters that exist in the game because of the system back then, or I guess before this update happened. And then I guess another point and partial solution I can make regarding this change. This is a system that I feel can work perfectly fine for certain types of players. So something that, you know, they can do with this matchmaking system is to maybe have it be restricted to God rank players only. So once you hit God rank, the matchmaking system switches to the skill-based matchmaking system once you hit God rank. Once you hit God rank, you know you're going to be fighting good players. And at that point, you've made a conscious effort to get to that point. So you're sort of in the jungle, I guess. But for everyone else, the system is just simply unnecessary, I think. It's just... You can make... I know people are going to talk about this. You can make claims like, oh, just, play training battle if you want to have fun. Or, oh, just, play treasure battle if you want to have fun and experiment with different characters. But that's just complete and utter disregard for the problem with the game right now. So, anyway, that's pretty much the gist of this semi-rant, I guess, on the most recent Dragon Ball Legends update. I think I was able to talk about all the different points I wanted to, but I can't think of anything that I might have missed. But I am interested in hearing what you guys have to say about these changes. Do you like them? Do you hate them? Let me know. And I'm going to be putting out a poll in my community tab asking about your thoughts as well, so feel free to answer over there. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you all in the next one.